Hi, I'm going to read chapter 3 on step 3 from my book, 12 Steps to One Hero, and it's called Be Decisive, Live by Love. Step 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him or her or it. In the Bhagavad Gita, the God Krishna says the protagonist and potential hero Arjun, the important thing is to act. The outcome is secondary. In actual fact, by taking the action, there is already an outcome, at least a progressive and positive internal one. It is said of step 3 in AA's 12 Steps and 12 Traditions that it is like the opening of a door which to all appearances is still closed and locked. All we need is a key and the decision to swing the door open. There is only one key, and it is called willingness. In the hero's journey, the potential hero often becomes reluctant at this point. They may even refuse the call to adventure. It's scary going into the unknown. It's so scary going towards our deepest fears. In the 12-step groups, this is often seen as someone finding a reason why they can't go on with, such as attending their meetings and working through the 12 steps. This is often to do with the word God in it, which brings down an intellectual armour as well as prejudice. The prejudice comes from how religion is often forcibly taught at school, at church, and or by parents or other elder figures. In the case of the church, while organised religion offers so much to so many, it has over the years become so frequently entwined with the state. Obvious really, as the state never misses a chance to control people. Then the God many are told about is a God who will send you to hell for not paying your taxes and working all your life in a job you hate. Know your place. So while the essence of religion is all abundantly good, the whiff of power within the institution is sometimes turned to an overpowering stench. The essence of religion is a spiritual awakening, a learning of how to face life on life's terms, a losing of fear, a gaining of fearlessness, which is a big purpose of doing the 12 steps. Done in the right way, religion has been and is amazing for individuals, but spirit in some church institutions has so often been beaten away by big ego, and that has put off a lot of people. Thankfully, the idea of God as your own concept of what that is has worked many millions of times in the 12-step groups, even for people who say they are atheists. As mentioned, it's just about accepting that there's a power greater in the universe. And if there is still a problem with the word God, just use the word good instead. Live by God's will, trust in good. People refuse to carry on here as well because they are not well. And part of the reason they are not well is because they are listening to that voice, that critical, unloving voice trying to get at them, the slanderer, the opponent within. As it will for anything that is good for the soul, it will find excuses for you not to do anything that is a boost to your inner growth. Because it wants to stay in control, it wants to be your master. It does its damnedest to demand you to be its slave. It knows that if you start to grow inside, that you may start to know who you are, find yourself again, and that you will tell it, that destructive voice and the negative feelings it causes, where to go. The stronger you get, the weaker it gets. Its all-invasive voice will become a pathetic whimper and then give up even trying, although it's always waiting to take you again if you don't keep growing. There is a catch-22 here, in that doing the 12 steps will allow you to know which thoughts are for you and which are against you. It's another incentive to get them completed. But it is an often fatal act that many do resist at this stage of recovery. The fear of the unknown, the fear of fear, is the greatest fear. Similarly, it's why in heroes' journey stories there is often a refusal here to the call to adventure. This could be from lack of self-confidence, a feeling of not being up to what the call involves. In Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, half-giant, half-human Hagrid invites Harry Potter when he tells him he's a wizard. But Harry says, "I can't be a wizard. I'm just Harry." Fear drifts in like a yellow poisonous gas. The person is under attack. within, and it grows insidiously until the person is dragged this way and that by fear. They are consumed with fear. At first, fear like this whispers, and the person hears it. Then it talks, and the person listens. Then it shouts, screams, screeches and hollers, and the person trembles and cowers. Soon they will become fear itself, a person who is just scared of everything and everyone, including themselves. Refusal of the summons converts the adventure into its negative, Campbell explained. Walled in boredom, hard work, or culture, the subject loses the power of significant affirmative action and becomes a victim to be saved. His flowering world becomes a wasteland of dry stones, and his life feels meaningless. All he can do is create new problems for himself and await the gradual approach of his disintegration. Such as when in The Lord of the Rings, Gandalf tells Frodo he can destroy the all-ruling One Ring by casting it into the fires of Mount Doom. But Frodo says, "I am not made for perilous quests. I wish I had never seen the ring. Why did it come to me?" There needs to be a strong driving force to get through this initial refusal. In Star Wars, Luke refuses Obi-Wan Kenobi's call to adventure and returns to his aunt and uncle's house, only to discover the Emperor's stormtroopers have annihilated it. Now, with a strong reason and an invigorated energy, Luke makes a decision to go ahead with the adventure. Similarly, those in recovery who make a decision here on step 3 need to have a potent motivation, and for most of those who work this successfully, that motivation is the terror of the terror they know that most people call life. They want to do whatever it takes to put distance between that terrifying way of life and a new way that they can see as full of hope instead of hopelessness. They have to, or they know they will die anyway. Most likely from a slow, tortuous death. Even so, it takes great courage. Sometimes at this point, as well as at any time throughout the adventure, a threshold guardian can appear. They are small but not insignificant challenges, not the key enemy, but they will most definitely test the potential hero's resolve. They can even break the potential hero. It might be a friend or one or more people that they have to face who doesn't believe in them or their capabilities. In Harry Potter, this is Malfoy and Snape. With someone going into 12-step recovery, it could be a friend, a partner, or family member who casts severe doubt on their chance of staying away from another drink, drug, bookie, pornographic website, cigarette, or damaging relationship. This sort of doubt can prove to be fatal. Often it will represent the shadow side, that repressed part pushed down to the surface of the unconscious, that which the person has fought from going anywhere near at all costs, but where they need to go to get what they need. It can cause extreme feelings, as confronting this repressed part can be distressing and difficult. This is often depicted in heroes' journey stories as a journey into the unknown, infinite dark space, a remote island, a sprawling dark forest, a deep rapid river heading for a colossal cliff-edge waterfall, a towering mountain shrouded in cloud, a vast ocean, either on it, especially when it's stormy, or deep in it, even all the way right down to the bottom. A city with a dangerous underbelly, a forbidding cave, the belly of a whale, a desert with no end in sight, a scarped steep valley. It represents the journey from the normal and familiar consciousness into the unexplored regions of the unconscious, into that ominous shadow side. The aim of the adventure is to come out the other side and be able to then live this way. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. The person called to the adventure will be encouraged by seeing someone else who has been where they are now, someone assured and full of vitality, a joyful sparkle in their eyes. That certain someone can guide the new adventurer in the same way that they themselves were once guided. In the 12 steps groups, one of these people will likely become their sponsor, a more experienced person in recovery, someone further along the spiritual journey as a result of having done the 12 steps and who continues to live them one day at a time, and that nearly always includes having their own sponsor. It's a progressive paying it forward of wisdom and love. As described earlier, This is precisely how the 12-step group started, when Dr. Bob and Bill W. started helping each other to stop and stay stopped from drinking alcoholically. They sought out other alcoholics in such as hospitals, many of whom would die. For some months, all those they tried to help drank again. It seemed hopeless until they realised that they hadn't been drinking. Finally, they spoke with Bill D., who was strapped down in a hospital bed for the safety of the medical staff looking after him. A week later, Bill D. walked out of that hospital, a free man, never to drink again. He became the third member of what developed into AA. From there, from those three former drunks who each had an extraordinary transformation, it spread around the world to help transform millions more people, most of who had previously been without hope, many suicidal. In the hero's journey, the equivalent of a sponsor is a mentor. Frequently, they are an older person, and that is made clear by their often long, grey hair and or wizard-esque white beards. They are someone who has trodden a similar path, been on a comparable adventure to the one the potential hero is being called to go on. As a result of this journey the mentor has been on, they have gained something extraordinary. This is clearly visible. The mentor can come in at the story's beginning to help with crossing the threshold, but can also come in at other times throughout the story, either physically or into the potential hero's memories and thoughts. As humans, we need wise guides. Otherwise, how do you know you're not being led astray? A mentor doesn't even necessarily need to be met in a physical sense, but a potential hero needs a mentor. The journey cannot be made alone, because a major part of the journey is about finding humility. It's the same with a sponsor, and most 12-step people will choose someone they spot at a meeting, someone who they can sit down with while they chat face to face. What is certain is that someone always needs a sponsor to guide them through the 12 steps. In the same way, a mentor is always crucial to the successful hero's journey. I once heard a struggling alcoholic justify that it was not necessarily vital to have a sponsor by talking about a man he knew of who had been sober at AA meetings for many years without a sponsor. Yet he then went on to say that this man said he felt like having an alcoholic drink every day. This man was then white-knuckling it, and that is no way to live. It is not living, it is surviving. He had not answered his call to adventure. Such as addiction is nothing to do with willpower, and neither is long-term recovery. Willpower is something we use to get over the line. No one can live on willpower comfortably because willpower is not a natural state of being. It's to overreach oneself. A mentor or sponsor will always appear when needed at the right time. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. But the student has to be ready, and they need to be open-minded and have humility. Then a potential hero, as with any new 12-step person, must be willing to go to any length. A hero needs to become willing to die for what is worth living for. Everyone has to find what's worth living for, or we die a death of some sort anyway. For those who have not refused the call, the first encounter of the hero journey is with a protective figure, often a little old crone or old man, who provides the adventurer with amulets against the dragon forces he is about to pass, Campbell said. What such a figure represents is the benign protecting power of destiny. One has only to know and trust, and the ageless guardians will appear. Having responded to his own call and continuing to follow courageously as the consequences unfold, the hero finds all the forces of the unconscious at his side. Mother Nature herself supports the mighty task, and insofar as the hero's act coincides with that for which his society is ready, he seems to ride on the great rhythm of the historical process. As Campbell mentions here, frequently the mentor in the hero's journey gives the potential hero a gift that will help them as they take their initial steps into that new extraordinary world. It is something that will prove to be useful as well as something reassuring to hold, a reminder of the connection with the mentor and so with the protecting power of destiny. There is the lightsaber that Obi-Wan Kenobi gives to Luke in Star Wars, the gadgets that M, subconsciously for mentor, represents to James Bond, and the book that bookshop owner Carl Conrad Coriander leaves for the boy Bastian Balthazar books in the never-ending story. From the 12-step group meetings, Newcomers usually leave their first, or at least early, meetings with something such as the Big Book or 12 Steps and 12 Traditions book, a phone number to call at any time of the day or night, or a Just for Today card. In fact, anyone interested in the 12 Steps and the Hero's Journey needs to and would greatly benefit from reading these two astounding AA books. Actually, anyone would greatly benefit, for they're not just for alcoholics. They are so much about life. As well, writing a gratitude list as described in this book's introduction, and reading and living the Just for Today card because it's a wonderful way to live, and if what it says is carried out every day as best you can, it will undoubtedly help you and the world around you. Just for Today card. Just for today, I will try to live through this day only and not tackle all my problems at once. I can do something for 12 hours that would appall me if I felt I had to keep it up for a lifetime. Just for today, I will be happy. Most folks are as happy as they make up their minds to be. Just for today, I will adjust myself to what is and not try to adjust everything to my own desires. I will take my luck as it comes and fit myself to it. Just for today, I will try to strengthen my mind. I will study. I will learn something useful. I will not be a mental loafer. I will read something that requires effort, thought, and concentration. Just for today, I will exercise my soul in 3 ways. I will do somebody a good turn and not get found out. If anyone knows of it, it will not count. I will do at least 2 things I don't want to do, just for exercise. I will not show anyone that my feelings are hurt. They may be hurt, but today I will not show it. Just for today, I will be agreeable. I will look as well as I can, dress becomingly, keep my voice low, be courteous, criticise not one bit. I won't find fault with anything, nor try to improve or regulate anybody but myself. Just for today, I will have a program. I may not follow it exactly, but I will have it. I will save myself from 2 pests, hurry and indecision. Just for today, I will have a quiet half hour all by myself and relax. During this half hour, sometime, I will try to get a better perspective of my life. Just for today, I will be unafraid. Especially, I will not be afraid to notice what is beautiful and to believe that as I give to the world, so the world will give to me. They may also leave with a printed copy of the Serenity Prayer that goes, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. This prayer caused great enthusiasm as it struck a chord when AA members first became aware of it in the 40s, and today it is often said aloud by the group at the end of many AA meetings. It is also inscribed on many of the celebratory coins that are awarded at meetings to people in recognition of specified lengths of sobriety. Other popular slogans on these coins are, to thine own self be true, and one day at a time. Although the Serenity Prayer is attributed to American theologian Reinhard Niebuhr from the 1930s, there are much earlier verses with similar sentiments, such as this written by Indian Buddhist monk Shantideva in the 8th century. If there's a remedy when trouble strikes, what reason is there for dejection? And if there is no help for it, what use is there in being glum? As with all great teachers, the mentor or sponsor will allow the person to realise what is already there inside them. They are merely the guides to find the vitality, the light, the love, the greater power, the extraordinary force, the divine spirit, the godness that's already within them, to find the hero inside. Something here is astounding. The word heroin derives from Latin heros, meaning hero, because of its influence on the user. Heroin users say the drug makes them feel intensely calm, in a state of pure bliss. Just imagine feeling like that without having to damage the body and do it artificially. You can do it. It's also a marked connection that some users smoke heroin by heating the drug on aluminium foil above a flame and then inhaling the smoke through a tube, straw or rolled up cash note, a method known as chasing the dragon. So, potential heroes after dragons. Then the word alcohol is from the Arabic term al-kul, meaning the finer thing or the essence, the intrinsic nature or indispensable quality of something. It was specifically used to denote a very fine powder of black coal that was used by Arab women in the medieval era as an eye makeup to enhance the sparkle in their eyes. The search was for the most pure, perfect form of coal, that which would give the greatest sparkle in their eyes. Turn over in your mind another one, if you will. The word spirit derives from Latin spiritus, meaning breath. A Hebrew word used for spirit is ruach, meaning something akin to energy, and that includes such as wind and our breath, as well as God's energy that causes plants and trees and us and everything good and of life to grow. It is this spirit that those who are spiritually awoken sense and get to know. It is as such the Holy Spirit in Christianity. God is spiritually active in the world. Alcoholic spirits came to be known as spirits from the fact that the vapour given off and collected during an alchemical process, as in the distillation of alcohol, was known as a spirit of the original material. Consider within all this, in the previously mentioned letter that Carl Jung wrote to AA co-founder Bill W. in 1961, that he thought a craving for alcohol was a low-level thirst for God, verbatim, the equivalent, on a low level, of the spiritual thirst of our being for wholeness expressed in medieval language, the union with God. Jung's letter went on to say, alcohol in Latin is spiritus, and you use the same word for the highest religious experience as well as the most depraving poison. The helpful formula, therefore, is spiritus contra spiritum. So spirit against spirit. A spiritual experience to counter addiction to the alcoholic spirits. In the letter, Jung also put an asterisk after the sentence concerning the union with God. And at the letter's end, he revealed the asterisk, quoting the Bible's Psalm 42:1. As the hart panteth after the water brooks, so panteth my soul after thee, O God. A hart or deer is symbolic, standing for honesty, love, kindness, mercy, grace, and forgiveness. Think of the hero's journey story that is Bambi, produced by Walt Disney, who himself went through a hero's journey story, as do many creative people and entrepreneurs. The writer of this psalm speaks of all the desolation he has endured and prays to be saved from loss and ruin. He grieves for his remoteness from God and asks for the renewal of that relationship. What he writes about sounds like depression and anxiety, as he says, "My tears have been my food day and night," and how he used to feel protected and happy, but now pleads, "Why, my soul, are you downcast? Why so disturbed within me?" Furthermore, connected to all of this is the word elixir, a magical potion or medicinal cure, a substance capable of changing base metals into gold, something that can prolong life indefinitely, a cure-all, the essential principle. The word was introduced in late Middle English through Latin from Arabic elixir, that is the Arabization of Exilian, which was used of Greek, that's a Greek word, which was used to describe a powder for drying wounds. This takes on more significance when you realize that the word trauma, that such as doctor and addiction expert Gabor Mate says is behind every addict he ever saw in his long career, derives from Greek words tetrenen, meaning to pierce, and titrosken, meaning to wound. Then there is alchemy, from where the English word chemistry derives, from the Arabic word alchemia, and that is made up from al, meaning the, and chemia, that is from Greek chemia, meaning art of transmuting metals. It was the medieval forerunner of chemistry, concerned with the transmutation of matter, in particular with attempts to convert base metals into gold or finer universal elixir. So taking something ordinary and turning it into something extraordinary, often in a way that cannot be fully understood. Connected is the philosopher's stone, a legendary alchemical substance capable of turning base metals into gold or silver, first mentioned in writing in 300 AD. A beautiful story here. Art experts were restoring the Sistine Chapel frescoes created in the 16th century by Michelangelo. Adored by people around the world, the restorers soon realized a difficult problem when they saw, to their initial disbelief, that underneath the art that everyone knew so well were brighter colours and more intricate details that had not been seen for centuries. Then their epic dilemma was, did they restore it to what everyone always knew so well, or did they reveal the brighter version that was actually there all along? Of course, it's a fantastic analogy for us. Most of humankind has no idea of what is the true magnitude of the bright, intricate, powerful magnificence within each and every one of us. There's even more to all of this. The triangle within a circle symbol was adopted as an official AA symbol at an international AA convention in St. Louis in 1955. To this day, it is widely used, including many in recovery who wear it as a jewellery or have it tattooed. Bill W. said about the adoption of the symbol, "The circle stands for the whole world of AA, and the triangle stands for AA's three legacies of recovery, unity, and service. Within our wonderful new world, we have found freedom from our fatal obsession. That we have chosen this particular symbol is perhaps no accident. The priests and seers of antiquity regarded the circle enclosing the triangle as a means of warding off the spirits of evil. An AA circle and triangle of recovery, unity, and service has certainly meant all of that to us and much more." Since at least the 17th century, an almost identical symbol was used, except that within the triangle was a square, and within the square was a smaller circle. The squared circle, as it is known, is an old symbol created to illustrate the interplay of the four elements of earth, water, air, and fire, to symbolize the Philosopher's Stone. In 1997, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone by J.K. Rowling was published. It was the first novel in the Harry Potter series that are now the best-selling book series in history. This fantasy novel introduced Harry Potter, a young wizard who discovers his magical heritage on his 11th birthday. In the 7th book of the series, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, a symbol for the Deathly Hallows appears, a triangle with a struck-through circle in it. The triangle shape represents the cloak of invisibility, the circle depicts the resurrection stone, and the straight line down represents the Elder Wand. It is also connected and symbolic, especially here the resurrection stone that allowed the holder to bring the dead back to life. The original resurrection stones were stones of immense weight used to prevent newly buried corpses from being stolen. But there is no resurrection without crucifixion. This is the story in the Bible that is really a brilliant bookshop in one book. It is a collection of immense stories, 66 books by different authors put together, with the first stories written down approximately 3,500 years ago and taking around 1,500 years to complete. Astoundingly, put together as they are, they have a plot. These stories and this plot are to explain the human condition and this world and how to survive it and thrive in it as a person. Many of these stories are much older than 3,500 years and until written in the Bible had been verbally passed on through the generations. It is no wonder that Western civilization is based on the Bible's meaning because it reveals a manner of living that, deep down, we already know is the way we need to live together harmoniously. People try to live other ways and look what we get. This is what recovery is, the chance to rise from out of the chaos, to have a new life that's, for the most part, in order, the hero's journey. You are what you are, but you're also what you could be, the person that you're meant to be. It's someone beautiful and strong who is here for an amazing purpose. Why else would you be here? But you are the only one who can discover who you were born to be. Many complete step 3, although a good sponsor will remind a sponsee of what it means at various apt times during their recovery, by saying, on their knees with their sponsor at their side, saying it too, the 3rd step prayer, God, I offer myself to thee, to build with me and to do with me as thou wilt, to build with me, relieve me of the bondage of self, that I may better do thy will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of thy power, thy love, and thy way of life. It signifies as a new setup in your life. Now you have to keep going and find even more courage. As the author and my wonderful late friend Colin Butts put it, answer the questions that scare the shit out of you and never give up.